Support for Talking Town is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Hold up, fellas. I don't think we've quite understood what I'm talking about here. We've gone years in the UK without using the right tools for the job. Long gone are the days of a razor blade in the mirror. No more shall we look like Sideshow Bob down there. Manscaped have redesigned the electric trimmer. Their engineering team have perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents because nobody wants a bloodbath in the bathroom. Did I tell you it's got waterproof technology so you can dim those lights, get yourself in the shower and groom to your heart's content? Whatever you do, however you do it with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0. And don't forget, you can get 20% off and free delivery with the code TT. Manscaped.com. Make your testies their besties.
Hello and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into your Talking Towns Thursday night. It's soon to be a matchday preview show. I suppose we can technically call it a matchday preview show. I mean, we've got Dartford on Saturday. We kick off our pre-season. I don't know about you guys and girls at home, but the older I get, the quicker the pre-season comes around every single year, and before you know it, you blink and you're back into a new season. And this is a big one. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. I can see the live chat is getting active, which we absolutely love here on the show. There will be a link coming in your way as well, so you can get yourself on the show. There's various talking points, but first of all, let's get a few comments. We've got Harry Butcher wants Crooks and Selena in. Owen Griffiths, it's coming home, boys and girls. Even if we don't get them, Harry, this is replied to in regards to Crooks and Selena. How good is it that those are the players we're targeting nowadays? No more Leon Best and Larson Torre. Harry Butcher. Colin Plum, the GOAT, is in the building. Welcome in, Colin. He's been so confident through these Euros that it's coming home. He's nearly there. He's nearly there. Good evening, Rabbit Man. Good evening, Lee. So how are we feeling? We are now obviously a whole day removed from the antics of last night. It was a late night. I didn't sleep till the early hours. I had the adrenaline pumping through my veins. I literally couldn't switch off. And I watched the highlights again. I'd only just seen the full 90 in extra time, but I just couldn't resist. And yes, it is real. So how are we feeling? We're feeling tired. We're feeling pumped. Are we literally clock watching towards the weekend? I want to know how you're feeling. Let's bring in a contributor. He is the man that designs everything you see. He is our artistic flair. It is designer George Nunn. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well. So you design, obviously, a lot of what you see, overlays, artwork. We can't thank you enough. And you designed all of the Euro stuff. So a big thank you from myself and the rest of the team. Thank you ever so much.
What
are you making of England right now?
Yeah, I thought we were good last night, weren't we? Few mistakes, looked a little nervy. Pickford's looked a little nervy on a couple of occasions, I thought, but he's conceded 1 goal, so that's great. But yeah,
could have been 2.
I think it was pretty exemplary performance, really, for a semi-final match. I thought we were untidy.
Yeah, I agree with Pickford. I think Pickford, for the first time in the tournament, kind of showed who he played for, and I don't mean that in an outright disrespect way. What I mean by that is you have players who are like Foden, Sterling, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, etc., that have played in cup finals.
Yeah,
you learn to manage the occasion and the nerves a little bit better the more you do it. Everton, for however great a club people may think they are, if you do, they're not used to that sort of occasion. So
yeah, it's a fair point. I thought about that.
Yeah, there was one instance where you just need a calm head, and he threw the ball to him. Just the game plan might be play out from the back, but let's just take our breath and
But other than that, I thought it was a good, almost good to concede yesterday rather than for it to happen in the final. They came back from conceding really well again, and dealt with it really well, and it's good that it's happened now in a way. So I'm pleased. I'm not feeling one way or the other yet how it's going to go on Sunday. But
are you not?
No.
Okay. If I had to, well, that's interesting. We'll get Coxy's thoughts. We'll bring him in just a second. We've got Tweedy pumped. England in a Euros final and first ITFC game coming up since went to Coventry at home. That was my last game as well, Tweedy. Crazy how fast time goes. Is time going that fast? It feels too long since I was sat we're smelling the turf of Portman Road on a cold Tuesday evening. When was the last time you were at Portman Road, George? For a game?
Well, yeah, time's gone weird, hasn't it? Season before last, I guess. Don't know, I can't remember. I took my boy. I definitely took him. We went to the open day, but I went to 2 or 3 games that season, but I can't.
Okay. Colin Plump did a little piece on Radio Suffolk, him dabbling in the radio game yesterday and today. TT got a big shout out. Good man, Colin. Stephen, actually, I put your name forward, Colin. I should have mentioned it for something. I'll spoke to you after the show. Thanks for reminding me. Yes, somebody was looking for somebody who had memories of the 66 final. And I was like, I know somebody because he was on the show last night telling us. So, we'll talk after the show. Michael, it was happening in the final too. I just think nerves get the better of them, unfortunately. Do you think he could have saved the free kick before I bring Coxy in? Because Owen says Pickford, T-Rex arm, stresses me out.
I saw David James talking on Sky Sports News earlier, and he was saying that he thought his initial instinct was that he probably could have done better, but went on the replay, he thought he was unsighted. So,
David James says that, does he?
Well, it was a hell of a strike. It didn't go top bins or anything, but it was a decent enough free kick. But I think, I didn't. My initial instinct wasn't he should have done better.
No, although I think as a goalkeeper, you always say to yourself, if I can get fingers, I can get a hand. If I can get a hand, I can soften it.
I'm sure he got
fingers
himself. Yeah,
he got fingers. So. Yeah, somebody else said his footwork wasn't great, but personally,
Kasper Schmeichel.
Well, he played really well until the vital moment when he didn't, and that penalty was so bad, George, that Schmeichel halfway through receiving it changed his mind from a parry to a catch.
He should have been trying to catch it,
and did neither. Yeah. So he didn't parry it out. And he didn't catch
it. He kept a minute until then, though. To be fair to him,
he did. He's a great goalkeeper, though. He was a FM cheat back in the day for those that are FM players. Right, we've got a busy show. We've got a Shrewsbury fan joining us to give us the lowdown on Shrewsbury transfers in, transfers out, if they've got any. I know some League One teams are quite slow at the moment on their transfers because it's a bit of a stagnant market. I've got some John Nolan questions, George. I don't know about you, but I've got some John Nolan questions I want to try and pull out of. If he knows where John Nolan is right now, then he's a better man than me. But no, I just wanted to know where he felt best position. Because we often say on this show, don't we? When John Nolan plays the 10, and I often say I think he's more of an 8. And let's see from somebody who's seen the best years of John Nolan. We've got Stephen Parry in the room. The Cruncher's joining us. Good evening, John Cruncher. Mr. Ipswich Town, David James, of all keepers to save, he could have done better. It was a wonder strike can't take that away from Danska. I wonder what BrickTop thinks. BrickTop, stop me again. I'll cut you. Jacobs off, son. How you doing?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm good, thank you. Yes, yep, right. Good. Sorry,
could he have saved it?
could he have saved it? No, I don't think. I think it was just a good. As a fantastic worldie free kick. No, I don't think. No, I think that was unsavable.
Okay. Cruncher asks, who's joining Gov, Mogul, Cruncher, Fisherman, Goat, and the Designer at Bury Town Tuesday evening? Are you going to be there, Coxy? I would have thought not, coming from Lowestoft, but I could be wrong.
No, not from Lowestoft, from Galston. I am just the wrong side of, like George here, the wrong side of the border. Yes, me and BrickTop Jr. will be there on Tuesday night to join the crew. He's.
Yes, Coxy.
I will be there to join my fellow brethren of the Talking Town HDR. I will be there.
Love this.
Along with you both, yeah.
And on Tuesday, will we be having a pint and discussing Ipswich Town as also fans of the European champions, Coxy, or the runners-up? What do you think?
It's not going to be easy, you know. The Italians have always defended well. That they're going to do their usual thing, probably throw themselves on the floor. I think we should sit Greenish in just to even things up a bit. You know, the most foul player in Europe, and the Italians. I hope it's going to be a good match. I think it's obviously going to be very tight, but England will win. I've got a funny feeling that's going to be on penalties, though. Hopefully not. I don't think my anxiety can take another, a match, extra time, and then penalties. But
one of which was it a penalty for you?
Of course it was. Stonewall, what's that with you?
Stonewall, love it. Cruncher, Talking Town flag making its debut, beautifully designed by that man sat right there, and the exact same flag that Brett has now received. Our owner, Brett Johnson, tweeting out this week that he's got a Talking Town one club, one community flag. That must be something to make you feel good about yourself, George.
Yeah, it was a shock, to be honest with you. I didn't realise that he'd asked if he could get himself one made. So yeah, that was that cheered me up on a otherwise reasonably dark day. But it was nice to see, actually. Yeah.
Good man. Right. Talking about things that are nice to see. Teddy Bishop getting interest from various clubs these days on possible departures. I'm not saying I'd like to see it, but I am. I'm asking, would you like to see Teddy Bishop departing for other climates? Who wants to leave me on that one? George, you leave me on that one. Teddy Bishop getting interest. Are you...
My answer's the same as it is for everyone. So, same as I said last week. It's probably time, isn't it, for Teddy to go? It's just, he's had loads of time to find his footing at Ipswich, and I'd love for him to have turned into our rock in the middle of the park, but it just hasn't happened for him. So, yeah, it's probably time for him to find pastures new, and he leaves with all my very best, assuming he goes. But he's been linked with some decent teams, isn't he? So.
Yeah, I was going to say Lincoln, Portsmouth, and Hearts. Coxy, if you had to choose which one he was going to go to, anyone particular? Would it be out of the country, so he's not going to come back to haunt you, or are you like, it's Teddy Bishop? He's not. Well, he's not. And just whoever.
Well, just to go along with what you said, I think my choice would be Hearts. Send him up to Scotland, perhaps.
Then you're north of the border, over the wall.
North of the border, not north of the border like me and George are, but
no.
The other north of the border. Lincoln apparently are favourites. I mean, NK Dons were apparently interested. I don't know if that were resurrect. Is that not where Matt Gill went, gentlemen?
It was. It is. Yeah.
So whether but my preference would be Hearts. But according to my research before the programme, it's Lincoln is the favourites.
Okay, and would you? So, is that an upset to losing someone like Lincoln, where he could potentially come out to haunt you twice a year? Impact League tables, or are you a lot like George in respects of he would have done it by now if he was ever going to do it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've always been straight up that it's been time for him to go. I think he should have gone a couple of seasons ago. It was never going to happen. It was always his, his yardstick was one performance against Middlesbrough years ago, and he's never he's been out injured more times than anybody else. And yeah, it's time for him and time for us to move on.
Okay. Cruncher. Yeah. Bishop working hard in the gym, looking in fantastic shape, but no good having beautiful bodywork, but a broken down, clapped out engine under the bonnet. A name we are being linked with, because Graham Tate does ask before we bring in our Shrewsbury fan, are Ipswich struggling to sign players? George, do you think Ipswich are struggling to sign players at this moment in time?
No, I think it's probably a representation of the quality of players that we're chasing, to be honest with you. Like, it's the Selena, for example, would have been one of those that they wanted to have kept under wraps for as long as possible, I suspect, so that they had as good a chance of getting as far down the road as they can. Same with Crooks or the ones that we haven't heard of yet. So yeah, I mean, I think we're struggling, but just because we're not signing them hand over fist, but it's probably down to the fact that we're not lowering our standards.
Okay, Coxy, talking about a player coming in. Town have been linked with Stoke striker Lee Gregory, who ended last season on loan at Derby, scoring 3 goals in 6 starts. 32, I think he is. Yeah, 32. Yeah. So is that the sort of striker you'd like to see in the building, or are you scratching your head there thinking this is more of a Marcus link than a new era link?
Yeah, totally agree. To quote one of the many catchphrases of our wonderful podcast here, "Not for me." We are signing sort of other players who seem to be, in the prime of life, the 26, 27s. He doesn't fit in with that. No, I think we can do better, and I think we can do Pigott from Wimbledon. Okay. Now that Charlie White suddenly out of nowhere has suddenly gone to Wigan, I mean that's where. I mean, you going back to your previous question to George there. I think we are sort of looking and think, we're going to sign another one. They're going to be, by their signings, they should be up there with us.
Well, they've got the consortium as well themselves, haven't they? And yeah, they are. I think again, back to what George was sort of alluding to there, that you're right. When you're fishing at the top end of the pool, as it were, only few clubs are in for the same few players, and it comes down to sometimes geography, obviously financial settlement, things like that. So, struggling, I don't think we're doing. Taking our time, I do. Right, we've met with a Rotherham fan already on the show. We've got several lined up over the next few weeks. We are joined this evening now by somebody from the Killy Shrew View. His name, he's got a beautiful name. It is Martin. Welcome in, Martin. You are the Shrewsbury fan. How you doing?
Not bad, cheers. Not bad.
Good, man. I love the shirt.
Yeah. It's not the new one, though. I've got a 4-year deal with Umbro, so I'm looking forward to the kit coming out. Yeah.
Who was your previous deal with?
Well, it was with Admiral.
Okay. Not
but Umbro do the good retro shirts and that, so hopefully take us back to the good times when we played Ipswich in the Cup as well. We're doing well under Graham Turner. Obviously before my time, but when Bobby Robson was there and all that, so... Yeah, so it's a bit of history between Shrewsbury and Ipswich, obviously in recent years, with a so-called snake, should I say?
Oh, yeah, we all hate him, mate. Don't worry, we all hate him. You hate him, we hate him. Everyone hates him. Don't worry. He made his bed in everywhere. So how do let's just start with that? That's a great way to start with. How do Shrewsbury fans now see A, Ipswich off the back of that, and B, Mr. Snake himself?
It was a bit of a weird one because obviously he left and that, and then we didn't get to play it because of at home. Obviously, we played the away game, and then the home one didn't materialise because of COVID, and then I think Paul Lambert didn't want to play it because he thought he was going to lose and get his job gone because we were on the good run at that time. But we eventually played and it was a boring 0-0, wasn't it? So, it's I think, the Paul Hurst thing, obviously that happened, and I don't think there's any animosity as such. I think it's just more towards Paul Hurst in general, and it's pretty good that he sort of messed up with you lot in a way, because you hate him as well now. So, I mean, I can see why he left. It's just the way he left, and I think it was too soon for him, because Ipswich have a lot of history, and I just think, I don't know what your view was at the time when you took him. It's like a manager can be hit or miss. No, you didn't want him, no?
I didn't want him. No, I didn't fancy his pedigree. If I'm honest, I thought it was, without being disrespectful to Shrewsbury, a bit of a flash in the pan. It was if you'd just come up, hadn't you, and you had a really good year.
Well, we've been in for 6 years actually, but we've always been flirting with relegation. The previous best finish before that was 16th, and so in a way, that was a flash in the pan for League One in the last 30 odd years, So I think it was just a combination of good luck and the fact that we signed a couple of loan players that have turned out to be fantastic players now, like Dean Henderson and Ben Godfrey. That sort of hit the nail on the head, and I think it was just one of those seasons. You see a lot of teams have those sort of seasons, and so it was good. I'm surprised at the form of John Nolan though. I get in Championship, it was probably again a step up too much, but I mean he's playing League One, and I'm surprised at the both of them. I thought that maybe they would have been kept into your team with their previous experience in League One, even prior to Shrewsbury. Especially John Nolan, with Chesterfield, he had a good spell with them. It's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, you mentioned John Nolan at the start there when I came on. He was phenomenal for us, phenomenal. Everything was played through him from back to front, and he also got the goals as well.
Did he have a lot of injury problems for you, Martin?
No, that's the thing. We got in the playoffs.
It's caught the Ipswich-itis injury bug, obviously, since it's been with us. It's strange. Honestly, this season he must have played every game pretty much. And I think we had a good cup run. We got to the third round of the cup. Obviously got to the playoffs, played the playoff final. So he played every sort of minute. He swept the awards as well that season. We were gutted to lose him. It's a bit of a shock really to see how he's declined. Maybe not so in the Championship, but especially in League One with you guys. I mean, is he still with you? Has he got a year left? Is it?
He's sadly still with us. Yeah.
Well, I would certainly like him to come back if he can.
Oh, I'd drive him, pal. Don't worry. I'm not a John Nolan fan in any way, shape, or form. But what is he? Because we often get at the start of the show to George. We get a lot of debate, particularly being George, a couple of weeks ago, in terms of where you would play John Nolan and what's his best position for Shrewsbury. How did you guys get the best out of the Ginger Perlo, as Cruncher calls him in the chat?
Yeah, I think, like I say, everything was played through him. So he was always playing behind the striker. We've never had strikers that are blast for goals in the last few years. You'll probably, understand that from last season.
Yes.
And it was. I think it's quite amazing. There was a stat that the Fleetwood chap that what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he pulled out a stat the other day, and I didn't even realise it was that good. Yeah, and he said that out of the 26 wins, something like I think 20 odd of them were like 1-0s or 2-1s. That which showed how defensively good we were. But in terms of Nolan's position, he was just. I mean, if you see the goals he scored, he would sort of come deep with a ball, and he would look for the space to run into, or sometimes he would just play off the last man and wait for the ball to come, the second ball. And I mean, he had a great shot on him. I mean, that goal in the playoff semi-final away at Charlton, where the flick on came up to him and he just hit it first time. I think it was a bit of confidence. Like you say, maybe it was a flash in the pan with Nolan as well, because everyone was on a high in that team. There was a collectiveness about it. And maybe that's just the case. I wouldn't say Nolan was a bad player before. I can't comment on it from other teams if he was injury prone, but he certainly wasn't with us. And I would say his best position was maybe that hole, number 10.
We've never really played him at 10, though, have we?
No, because of Judge, yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's his position, yeah.
Some players, though, fit teams. You'll always find that, I don't know, you're linked with a striker and everyone's getting excited, like England are going to win the World Cup sort of feeling. You know, it's like they're getting excited, thinking, yeah, we're getting this striker who's going to get 20 goals, and then, you know, he's renowned for it. Like, I mean, out of all the strikers we've had in the last 20 years, I can only probably say Grant Holt was the only one that achieved what we expected when he came. And I know, but even you must admit, as a player, the goal scorer, he was just phenomenal. He knew where the net was. Obviously, secretly, you know, he was a player. I mean, our chairman promised that if we didn't get promoted or whatever, and a big move came in from a championship club, he would go, and he kept that promise. Which, you know, he delivered that season. But other than that, we failed with strikers. But
same as us.
I'll tell you,
who was around him? Sorry,
what around?
Does that matter in terms of who was around Nolan? Was it a pacey striker or a winger? Is he a system? As in, if the system's firing, he can fire. Or
it was more. We had Stephen Payne. I don't know what's happened to him since he left us. He's gone from playing well to headbutting people and kicking off with his Grimsby teammates. That was the player. That was the player we had then. But no, it was Carlton Morris, the one on loan from. Is it Barnsley now? But he was
it was Norwich, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was a solid player. Like he would not get you 15, 20 goals a season, but what he would bring to you is headache for the defence. He would just, you know, bully the defenders. And I think sometimes it was a case of they'd mark him, like put 2 on him, and then that would leave Nolan the space to run into to latch on and play behind. So that's where Nolan always played best. And he picked up the loose balls. You know, we had good wingers at the time, Rodman and Worley, who still with us. They were providing the goals as well. So Morris didn't necessarily need to score because we had those 3 providing the goals in front of him, or behind him, should I say.
So George, having heard that, great insight there from Martin. What's your thoughts about John Nolan now? Because some fans are saying he's a big part of Cook's new era, new plan.
I mean, if we're going to keep him, I think we need to try him in his best position. I'm all up for John Nolan having a shot if he can keep himself fit, and we can find a slot for him. Then yeah, I'm definitely up for him having a shot. But I just don't think we've ever found the right slot for him to play in the team, and whether it's the team around him or whether it's the formation, who knows? But if Cook sees something in him that fits him into that 4-2-3-1, then great. We might find out on Tuesday.
Leighton Durrant, you can of course have a birthday shout out. Happy birthday, Leighton. Have a great evening. Many happy returns. So Martin, Shrewsbury, what's the consensus at the moment on at Shrewsbury in terms of your players in, your players out, your expectations for next year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't get to go as much anymore. Hence, I mean, Killy Shrew, obviously, I'm in Kilmarnock now in Scotland. That's moved up. I'll tell you a little bit about myself first of all, and answer the question because this will interest you. So, my dad was in the forces.
You better tell us how you got Dwight Seabag as well, because people are asking.
Yeah. I'll bring all that into play.
Okay.
So and then don't worry, it's all clean, like, so it's fine if there's any.
This show does all sorts. So don't worry about it, mate.
Yeah. No. So I'm actually, believe it or not, born in Suffolk, born in Ipswich. So there's the first surprise there. The reason for that was my dad was in the forces, so I grew up just outside Felixstowe. I was only 2 at the time when I moved, so
Trinity St Mary.
And then I wasn't really into football because I was moving around all the time. So I think my sister was born in Watford, so then I was down there for a bit, and then that's when I moved up to Lincoln for a year. I nearly went to a Lincoln game, but thank God my dad moved to Shropshire just in time, and then Shrewsbury, I found my love. So since the age of like 9, and I'm 35 later on this month. So that's my passion since then, really. So luckily I've avoided quite a few teams and that, but it could have easily been an Ipswich fan if my dad hadn't moved. So I got away. But yeah, so that's just that out of the way, and then I moved up to Kilmarnock about 8 years ago.
Are you a Killy fan?
No, I went on holiday to Tenerife. It was a flip of a coin, really, as well. 2 lads wanted to go to Turkey, 2 wanted to go to Tenerife. Ended up in Tenerife, and I met my wife there, my future wife, and her dad was a Kilmarnock fan. So I went to a first ever game at Hampden. It was a semi-final of the Cup, and they played the rivals there. Won 1-0. Played Celtic in the final. Won 1-0. Went to that. I thought, bloody hell, this is great. And then it's been, it was tits up since then. So, but so that's my 2 teams really. I've got, because I'm local. Obviously, my daughter supports them now. So, yeah, my passion is Kilmarnock as well, but obviously Shrewsbury's my main passion.
Good man. And why Teabag?
Yeah, so back in the old ground at the Game Meadow, it was just a normal game, it's like that, and you don't have much money. Like, I think I was in a paper round and that. I think I got a nice white jacket, and that, so I went to the game with it. Anyway, where you get your coffee and all that behind in the old ground and the standing bit. So someone had decided it was funny to launch a tea bag, and it hit me. So picked up this tea bag in a proper rage, had a couple of beers in me as well. Thought I was going to lob this in front, just trying to knock someone else out of the way. And unfortunately, when you're going through something really, with a bit of anger, it sort of slipped out of my hand and it hit this guy in front of me. A bit like you, Peter, big bald head, smacked him on it. Steaming head, and 30 lads behind started shouting, Teabag, give us a song. So every time I come, say, from Scotland, even for a game down in England to watch Shrewsbury away, I remember Blackpool back in 2018, and we had a big crowd there because obviously we thought we were going to get promoted and that. I came in and everyone spotted me, and that was it. Teabag gives a song. Never seemed to go but my missus was like that to me at the time. She's like, does everyone call you Teabag? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I would say 90% of people that actually know me from football from that age don't actually know my name. They just know me as Teabag. So yeah, that's the honest story. Nothing to do with whatever you thought. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, that's
it was mentioned story in the chat. But back to today, is it 4 or 5 signings you've made now? Is it
5 signings, I believe. Yeah, 5 signings.
5 signings.
Yeah, so
Elliot Bennett is one of them, right?
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with him because he's a local lad, actually, believe it or not. So he's from Telford. He reckons say he's local, but Telford's not local. That's more Wolverhampton, so out of the side. But anyway, yeah, he's going to be a good player for us. Good addition, I think. He's got experience. He's basically got the know-how. He's done it with Blackburn in that league. I think he was with Brighton, if I believe it or not. I might be wrong. I know he's with Norwich in the Premier League, so he has a lot of experience. He's been there. He's had promotions up his sleeve. He's quite a tidy player on the ball. He can also play in a couple of positions as well. I think he's going to be maybe deployed as a right wing back or maybe in the middle as well. There's been talks of him playing in the middle, which is a bit of a surprise. But one or two Blackburn fans I spoke to said he can play there. So that'll be interesting because we've not actually signed any centre mids yet. We've only got Valla and Norborn. So yeah.
It's a bit of a transitional year, isn't it? Looking at the transfers in it, because you've released, was it 12 you released?
Yeah, we released a 12, and to be fair, we needed to because Ricketts came in. It's a bit like the old scenario with Hurst coming to you. Ricketts, basically, anyone that took over Hurst was going to be up for basically scrutiny straight away because they were having to achieve what he'd done. And I thought it was a bit harsh on Askey. I thought he wasn't doing a too bad job. But at the end of the day, it happened. But Ricketts came in from Wrexham after 6 months in the job, got him to the top 2 in the conference, and everyone's thinking, trying to go down the route that some other clubs do. But it just didn't work with Ricketts. He was a cup manager. I mean, we did fantastic in the cups. Can't knock him for that. but in the league he was very boring, very defensive, and he just signed all his pals from Wolves, really. From back in the day. So
Leon Clark, was it?
Yeah, Leon Clark. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dave Edwards came back and that didn't really work. A club legend, it didn't really work out for him, I'm afraid. He was one of the ones that was released, but he was too injury prone. And then Scott Goldborn came. I'm trying to think of the others. Some just sort of went and gone. But yeah, Leon Clark, that was an absolute waste of money. I think he played one. He scored a winner at Wimbledon, and that's the only thing I remember him doing. Played about 6 games for us, so probably on a big wedge as well.
We've all had players like that, haven't we, George?
We have. Yeah.
We could list one as long as your arm, couldn't we, really? I mean, we've got, well, I want to say names, but there's been quite a few at Portman Road that you think, what's the point? What is the actual point here? Is it fair that your marquee signing is currently the Bristol Rovers lad, the right wing back? Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't actually. You're gonna laugh at this one because from what I know on Ipswich fans, they weren't too keen on him. But he's been an absolute phenomenal player for us when he came in last season, and he's going to be a big player for us. And he's got a home now. It's Matthew Pennington. He was absolutely solid for us. Scored a couple of important goals as well. And I think Steve Cottrell will get the best out of him. He's a very good player. He's had the potential. He had a couple of loan moves. Obviously, didn't work out with you, I believe. I might be wrong. You'll be able to tell me more than that.
I didn't think he was that bad for us. He played for us in the god awful season where we got relegated from the Championship. I didn't think he was too bad. Yeah.
Maybe it was just he was in a bad side. Maybe
Oh God, yeah.
He'll be a massive player for us. He's going to be one of the leaders there. And it's really good, really, because it's like for like. He came in. We lost Sean Williams to Doncaster. I'm actually not too fussed about that because I think he came in with a big, massive he was going to be a good player for us, and he was at the start, but then he just declined. Mistakes crept into his game, and I think he's been found out in League One. I'm surprised the League One club has actually signed him, but he may. He may come back and haunt us now. I've said that, but Pennington, he comes in for that, and then we've got Pierre, who's a very good player. Championship clubs were wanting him in January, Swansea and Birmingham. So,
oh wow, really? So how have you got him?
Well, he was actually. I mean, I'm surprised myself that he's. I wouldn't say he's Championship level. I'd say top League One. I'm surprised at that, but you know what Championship clubs are like. They'll sign anyone. I mean, they signed Toto and Nolan, didn't they? So.
Yes, we know. Yeah, we know. Well, we were the club that would sign anybody.
No, but you know what I mean? Sometimes you get the clubs in the Championship look for a gem, look for a steal, a bit like what Peterborough do in past with non-league and that. So, and it sort of works. You hit and miss, isn't it? But I like what we're doing. I believe we're going to have a good season. That's what I feel. I don't feel some Shrewsbury fans get a bit carried away and top 6. Let's not forget we've never finished higher than 16th apart from that one season that I mentioned there. So I think realistically, if we get top 10, that'll be a fantastic season. Have a good cup run and maybe push again on next season with the same sort of players. If we get to top 6, that'll be fantastic, and it is a possibility. But yeah, I think we can have a good season. That Ryan Bowman looks a very good player. I've seen him up here from Motherwell. He obviously did really well at Exeter, so he's going to be an interesting signing. We've actually paid a fee for him as well, which has made So
wow,
we've got players out there that we could sign for free, but we believe he's good enough to come into the team. I think some of the signings are maybe not high profile, but I think Steve Cottrell, from his experience in the past, I mean, I look to what he did at Bristol City. I know he's not really been in control of our team as such because of what's happened. He even came out yesterday and made an apology, and I'm like, what's he got to apologise for? Yeah, I was like, what's he got to apologise for? But that's just a credit to the guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's a very honest man. There's a very close relationship with the chairman. the chairman tried to get him to Shrewsbury many years ago. So it shows how valued he is. And I believe just that the management team that we have there's a togetherness, and I think they're bringing in the right players to fit that team. You know, the mentality. It's not just about, like, you look at some players and think, oh, we should be getting them, they're good players. But then he's maybe signing players that teams aren't going for, that are less looked at. But it's about fitting the right mould for that team. That left back you mentioned from Bristol Rovers is a great option. We've got Old Better. Don't know if you've seen, obviously, how he played. But he came from Man City, a very good player. He wanted to come and play football, and there's talks of bigger clubs already looking at him. Peterborough, I think, want to sign him.
Wow.
He's only got a year left on his contract, so you know that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But he's a sort of player that can play higher up the field, so it'll be interesting to see what we do with that one, because I don't think Luke's going to come in and want to sit on the bench either.
No, he had a great year with Rovers, didn't he? They were relegated, but he had a great year. A lot of love in the chat for Pennington from our viewers, saying that compared to most, he was decent, and they enjoyed his time here. I think he got ended early by injury, if memory serves me correctly, but I think on the whole, he was a good player. I think that's a solid signing for you. Top 12 is what we're seeing inside the chat. Would you go along with that to round up?
Yeah, I mean, I said top 10, but top half it's fantastic, because you'll always look at the table, and there's always like the top 2 or 3 sort of run away with it. Then you've got like the playoffs down to like 10th, 12th, are always in with a shout until maybe the last sort of 5-6 games of the season. Even we were in touching distance with the games in hand, but then there was too many teams playing each other. Some were getting excited, but yeah, no, I mean, Ipswich were a good shout, obviously, last season, considering, I think if you had a goal scorer, because defensively you were top notch. Like if you just had a goal scorer to finish your chances, you would have made the playoffs. I mean, you were drawing. You must have drawn about 5 or 6 0-0s at one point.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I sat for every single one of them. Pissing
I did believe Ipswich.
God, they were boring, Martin.
Fucking weren't they?
To be fair, there's one thing watching it on live and it's 0-0, but to watch it on iFollow 0-0 as well, it's
different dimension. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Coma inducing,
especially when you have to pay for it. I mean, but no, going back to the team as well, I believe Steve, like, he likes to bring young players in. Now, in the past, we've brought young players in, give them a game or 2, and it's like, right, chuck them out on loan. But I really do believe that, I mean, the Ipswich game, I don't know if you watched it, but that Tom Bloxham, he was only like 17, and he was given the Ipswich backline, a lot of hassle. Like, and for a 17-year-old, he didn't look a 17-year-old. He didn't. He looked good shout. I think and even Charlie Caton played a couple of games as well. And I think those 2 have been signed on 2-year deals this summer. He's also got the young goalie that's been on the bench. He's got a 1-year deal. And also talking of goalies, we've got the one from the ex-Coventry one and Doncaster. Yeah. Proper keeper, that one. He looks a good solid keeper. I like the look of him. So, and we've always picked up good goalkeepers, but they've always been on loan. So to get a permanent deal is absolutely amazing, because that will give confidence to the back line as well. And just in general, I think it's hit and miss with lone goalkeepers sometimes. But I mean, we've been very fortunate. We've had Dean Henderson, Luke Daniels, Max O'Leary, Sarkic. Some really good players on loan for in goal. But
I think some of ours have been some of our better goalkeepers have been on loan. They have. So yeah, is just as we finish, is the youth an important thing at Shrewsbury in bringing those players through?
Yeah, I mean, Shrewsbury are not blessed with the money and the wealth. The bigger clubs are. I mean, you'll know yourself. You're technically classed as a bigger club. I don't know what your finances are like, but it's going to be a lot better than
rich now, my friend.
but especially during COVID and that, it's been tough. But Shrewsbury have always managed to balance the books. I mean, we've had Joe Hart, Dave Edwards, Ryan Woods, Connor Goldson move on for big fees and sell-on clauses and that. We've always managed to do well with the youth. Even Johnny Taylor, he left, and we've always used the youth team to a good extent. There's ones that have also got away as well, like Andre Gray was absolutely atrocious for us, and then I think he's playing at Watford now, isn't he? So
we all have those sort of players. We all have those.
So it's quite frustrating. I mean, I remember Jordan Rhodes was a big, massive one. Like, he obviously left you, and that. I remember he actually scored the perfect hat trick against Shrewsbury for Brentford once. Great player in his day, like when he was good, but.
We wouldn't know. We never saw his day. We never saw it. We jettisoned him out before we saw his day. But I'm looking forward to when we do play you. It's always a good time. As Josh says in the chat here, doesn't mind Shrewsbury. A decent fan base that aren't knobs, and Penno will be good for you. Martin, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a real pleasure to sit down and get a little bit of insight into Shrewsbury. Quickly plug where you're from, your Twitter, etc., etc. So people know where to find you.
So basically, it's the Cully Shrew Reviews, my website. Just happened to get it up during lockdown. Needed to do something with my time, so have a look at that if you want. It's something that I've sort of decided to do a podcast on. So the podcast, I've done a couple of trials with it just before the end of the season there. What the main thing of the subject is going to be, it's going to be bringing a fan on, hopefully. Some weeks it may be to do with Scottish stuff, other stuff to do with, obviously, the League One as well, to mix it up a bit for both fans. But the main thing that I want to touch on, and I'm sure that you three here and all the listeners will agree with, is two subjects I'm highly sort of passionate about, is social media bullying in general. Quite passionate about driving that in the right direction. There's banter, and there's just been plain nasty and bullying, and there's too much of it I've seen. And during lockdown, it's obviously people take that differently. We need to try and be, these podcasts that we do are great, and these websites we do, and the stuff you do and the content's fantastic, but there's people out there that spoil it for those that do good work like yourselves. And also, the other thing I'm passionate about is just obviously racism as well. Like, it's something I hate to see. I just don't understand these fans that are racist, yet they have these players in their teams. And when I say these players, I mean all players. Not just yourself. It's not on. Like, and it's just something I like to talk about. And everyone has their different views about the knee and all that. And I'm one of these that I think, like, if you want to do a handstand, do what you want. If you want to, don't do a knee, whatever. But I think the main thing that my podcast is about respecting people's opinions, right and wrong. Some people aren't going to agree with it, but if you don't agree with it, just give your view in a nice way, like, and that's what I want to try and push across to everyone.
Perfect. Spot on, Martin.
But both of those things need to be gone from football and be gone from life. Yeah,
absolutely. Martin, it's been a real pleasure.
No worries.
Thank you so much. We're back very soon. Welcome to Mass Creations, high quality web and software development. Wherever your vision, bring it to life with Mass Creations based in Bury St Edmunds. From web or mobile development to SEO and IT consultancy. Awaydaysbeer.com, proud to partner with Talking Town. For only $14.99, grab your ITFC Legends pack, from the Beat to Hoppy Robson to Brazil's Best and Pablo's Pal. Whatever you need, whatever you want. ITFC Legends pack, $14.99 at awaydaysbeer.com. Grab it today. Masquerade. Coxy, I'm so sorry. I left you on the screen by mistake. Right. But that was really insightful. Martin from the Killy Shrew View there. Thank you ever so much, Mark. Though, just to make you guys aware, Away Day Beers Company, who partner with us on the show, Josh is doing some deliveries Saturday for the final time before the Euros. So if you fancy some away days for the big game, hand delivered by himself, drop a comment to Away Day Beers on Twitter. He's got mini cases. This is all he's got left, Coxy. He's got 10 mini cases of the Butcher. 16 of the Shearer, and 12 of the Bruni. Quite frankly, you can't celebrate a European Championships victory, and I'm going to say it, a victory without away day beers. Have you had any away day beers, Coxy?
I haven't sampled this yet, so obviously I've got to do my bit.
Absolutely.
Out to Galston, he'll love that.
Well, he will.
He's been to King's Lynn, so he's been over the other side of Middle Earth.
I will drop the link in the chat so you know where to find it. But honestly, guys, I had a bit of Boncho last night as it was his birthday. Beautiful drop.
What time did he come round then? Oh, sorry.
Easy, fella. Easy. Come on, easy now. But no, it was a great drop, and it's called Boncho something, and that's why I've only said Boncho. I can't quite remember the second bit, and I don't want to get it wrong. But apparently, it's the beer that started it all for Josh. And so we've all got our first show or our first beer or whatever it was. But yeah, so it was a real good drop actually. If I was to associate it to something, I'd probably associate it to a Doom bar. Ever had a Doom bar, Coxy?
I've had a Dime bar, but never a Doom bar. No.
George, you ever had a Doom bar?
Yeah. Yeah. It used to be my go-to when I went down the West Coast before it was available everywhere.
It's a drop that's really good because you drink it like it's tap water, right? Because it just goes down so well. Well, that's what I thought Boncho from Josh from Waylay Beers yesterday was like. That's what I associate it with.
So is that your governor's preference out of the away days beers then, Mr.
Oh no, Hoppy
which Hoppy Robson is the one.
Hoppy Robson is still by and away the best out I have had.
It's the best of the range, yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's now July, and it's going to take some beating. It was and if I had to associate a beer to that, because recently in the chat somebody asked which beers would I associate to which beers, I would associate it to more of a Spindrift. Ever had a Spindrift, either of you?
I think I have, yeah.
From Adnams, that's what I associate. Nice, crisp summer drink is what Hobby Robson really is. You know, if it's a beer garden drink where you can just sit, nice sunny day, and have it. Cruncher, Boncho went down easy back in the day. Well, there we go. It all ties in somewhere. I mean, that's true. No, wait, that's about the toxic stuff. I won't read that out on air just because it's got someone's name in it. Right. 12,000 sin tickets have been sold. The club have announced. George, give me a final predictive number. Coxy, your time is coming soon. What do you think the sin ticket number will be come August the 7th?
I reckon they'll get close to 13 and a bit.
Just 13 from 12 in a month?
I reckon. I still think we'll sign some people that will pick it up. All right, close to 13. Closer to 13, much closer.
Okay, Ipswich Town 13.5. Coxy, are you going higher or lower than George's 13?
I would go higher, just over the 14 for me.
But still too short of Crunch's 16. Crunch, you've lost 2,000 people somewhere, pal. Oh, come on, that was a better joke.
I mean, going back to the signings, I think, compared to other years, the signings have been brilliant. But if we have one marquee signing, then that would push it up.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I reckon they can get closer to 14 if the signings step up before the season starts.
Yep.
Yeah. I
That's not a criticism of anyone before I get bombarded for it in terms of the signings. I'm not worried about the signings, but I think that's what pushes the season ticket sales up, isn't it? That's when they'll see spikes, I imagine.
It is, yeah, because it gets people excited, doesn't it? I still think it will be nearer 15. Possibly, wow. I think it'll be 15. That's not any. I just think, as you say, the signings will push it up, and I do feel this club is on the eve, on the verge of a couple of big deals that are just going to make people sit up, be it Martin from Killy Shrew Views or Gab Sutton or us fans ourselves, and just sit up and go, okay, now I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
And with the appetite post-COVID and possibly with England being Euro champions and that wave of euphoria and football being back and all that I can just sort of see bubbling away, I just think, yeah, this could be something special just brewing. or we could fall flat on our faces. But we're focusing on the positives right now. Talking of, well, it's not really a positive, but the Papa John's Trophy, they have obviously announced dates for games. We're in Group A against Colchester, Gillingham, and West Ham under 21s. What are we going to do in the Papa John's Trophy? I want your July expectations for that. I want to know what you expect this club to do in the Papa John's. Coxy, kick us off on that one.
Well, it all depends on how Mr. Cooks it. I mean, personally, I think it's a cup competition we could do without if we are going to be, promotion contenders. But if we are going to go for it, let's go for it. Let's not, stick 101 different changes from our usual sort of 11. Yeah, make it clear. If we are going to go for it, let's go for it. If not, then just go out on that group stage and.
Okay. The games, George, are Tuesday the 14th September, 7:45, and then we visit Gillingham on the 5th of October, and then we host Colchester in what is being dubbed by some as the testimonial for Cole Skewes and Luke Chambers on Tuesday the 9th of November at 7:45.
Has that been confirmed yet? It's going to be testimonial, or is it just
fucking better not be, Cooksy? I won't be going to it.
Oh, don't be like that.
No. No. I don't want to test. No, it's not being confirmed. George, over to you.
My expectations for the competition are low, but I expect us to take it seriously. And that's my problem with our appearance in cup competitions recently is that it just felt like it's been kind of like whatever. But I don't expect us to make huge strides, but I'd like us to use it in a sensible way, whether that's as a fringe squad competition or whether we need time to bed in new players. It's tricky at the moment because we're still looking so threadbare that if we're still reasonably threadbare come the beginning of the season and these games start coming thick and fast, then rotation is going to be then difficult, isn't it? But I don't have high expectations for it as a competition. I don't have I'm not expecting us to storm it or anything. I wasn't last season, but I'd like us to take it seriously at least.
Okay.
However, what I would like to say, Gov, is I prefer to be at Wembley in the Papa Don't Preach Richard Moss, whatever it's called, trophy final than going through the bloody playoff final.
That's true. Yeah. Cruncher says Wembley final. Ipswich Town, personally, coming from me, rather be out early means nothing. Cruncher then says winning mentality is needed. And still says couldn't care less about the Pizza Cup, which is a fair point. Stephen Parry, play on 23s and take the fine. Cruncher wants 40,000 Blues at Wembley. Owen, great show, guys. First time probably joining the chat. The wife wanted to watch Loki's. Have a nice evening. Oh, P.S. Collins is a legend. Colin is a legend, Owen. He really is.
He is, certainly
enjoy Loki. Stephen, I'm sure we will, but I've wise with a smaller squad. It's a balance in that, isn't it? Because you want to have a winning mentality, but you want to protect your team and not pick up needless injuries. I personally don't know why we play this stupid trophy. I don't know why the lower league teams still are okay with this. It just seems like
it's more expense, isn't it? Getting your team to away grounds, and you could in our case draw at Plymouth and in the south, and that's going to cost you
fatigue as well.
Absolutely,
Or you end up getting like last year, Gillingham, when they came to Portman Road. All you got was two teams of 17-year-olds, which basically served nobody. Didn't serve the club, didn't serve the fans. Like in any other, we've got American owners now, George. This wouldn't go in America because there's no business viable sense to it, is there?
No, I don't think it would. And I think coming back to the taking it seriously thing, I don't think they'd be particularly impressed with it as a competition if we're just going to send 17-year-olds out every week. So I think that winning mentality is something that they will absolutely try and be big on. However it comes, that will be what they're trying to instill in and around Portman Road, and that means taking these games, seriously. Simple as that.
So are you telling me we might actually make it out past the group stage this time?
I if I have an expectation, let's say that it is that we get out of the group stage of the Papa Construct.
Because never forget last year when we had the chance to escape the group stage, played our youngsters, including a certain Liam Gibbs, who's now going up the A140, we are led to believe, for our league run to then finish where, Coxy? Oh, that's right.
Right, down the shit, man. Yeah.
Right, bang, mid fucking table. That worked out well for us all, didn't it?
But it's a club thing, isn't it? Like the winning mentality has to go from top to bottom, and they need to make the best of the good youth cup run last season, and try as best as they can, try and hit the ground running.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you go for the standard, our American owners who are in it to win it, they're into want to win. The failure is not an option now. We hope to see. We've had years of stagnation, and Marcus, let's remove his name from the stands, Evans. So go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mr. Ipswich Town saying that if we lose to Colchester, there'll be backlash. No, they took the rejects. Leighton says, I love pizza. Bring it on. Steve, I like pizza, but not takeaway pizza. No, I can't stand takeaway pizza. Just want to throw that out there. Where are you two on takeaway pizza?
I'm a fan of takeaway pizza. It's got its place in it.
I can't see the point. It's like from turning the oven on to serving up, it takes like 25 minutes, and it's like
Are you telling me that you make the pizza dough and do it all yourself?
No, I'll go to Tesco and buy a Tesco pizza. £3.50. 25 minutes in the oven. It saves myself £400. Like, don't be confused. Be confused.com. I'm not. Just me. If it's gonna be a takeaway, Coxy, it's gonna be a good takeaway, like a Best Burger, name plug for a sponsor, or a Chinese or an Indian. Not pizza.
No, I'm not a great lover of pizza. Family loves it, but I'm personally not a great pizza lover.
I bet Coxy Junior likes it, Peter, because it's you can be gaming with that, and then having a slice of pizza quickly, and he then got to put his game down. I sound old with that sentence. He then got to put his game down. When did I morph into my dad?
His game down. Yeah, he's got to put his controller.
Kids don't play games anymore, Martin. They watch other people play games on YouTube.
When did I
do. Or Twitch. Yes. Yeah.
As Quentin said, Gov can't even buy socks, Nanny. No, Gov don't buy socks. Gov don't buy nothing. No. Right. Last thing. Dartford is this weekend. Our first pre-season fixture, I know, and then obviously Bury on Tuesday. So, what are our thoughts and expectations overall from the pre-season? What is it you individually look for yourselves as football fans of a pre-season? We've got Dartford, Bury, Stevenage away, and then Palace at home, Colchester away, and then Millwall at home. The Bartosz Białkowski test, deal like Lazio. So yeah, what do we think? What do we individually look for in the pre-season? What do we expect, and where do we want to be come Morecambe in August? George.
Well, by the time we play Millwall, I'd like us to have a squad of players that have played together a couple of times. Hopefully,
it's a bit of a cop out. So, at what point of the pre-season? Well, because Millwall's the last pre-season friendly.
I know.
So, is there a particular point you want the bodies in the door so you can have that optimum?
Yeah, I think we need them a couple of games before that. In an ideal world, Paul Cook, they're all going to want to have them in ASAP. Of course they are. I think Saturday will be really interesting to see, because this is as threadbare as the squad's going to be. We've got to assume there's going to have to be a lot of players in that squad who was here last year and took a lot of flack from all quarters, not least from Paul Cook by all accounts. So it's going to be really interesting how he lines them up on Saturday and again on Tuesday, because I'm not anticipating a hat full of signings before Tuesday. So yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how he makes half of the old squad work with the new half of the squad that he's brought in, or half of a team that he's brought in. So yeah, they're my expectations for the next two games. But I think in the next couple of games after that, we're going to have to start padding this squad out with some real quality, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Coxy, are you looking at wins and losses through pre-season?
I personally do, because I mean, a lot of people say, depend on team, that some teams, if they lose all their pre-season friendlies and then go on to have a good season, but these two friendlies, are just early game time for the players, obviously, aren't they? And yeah, for me,
going back to the winning mentality. Sorry, Coxy. The Americans will bring in. They don't have pre-season friendlies particularly over there. Like, take baseball. If you're a baseball fan, aren't you, Martin? They have the Cactus League and the Pineapple League, Cactus League, where all of the teams that play in the MLB basically go to either Phoenix or to Miami, and they play in a tournament for a month. And they take that seriously. Tens of thousands of people go and watch these games. It's insane. They don't see sport as something that you play to be friendly. And I think that's something that you could do with instilling in any club. So yes. I don't particularly care about whether it's winning or losing through pre-season. But I think to get that winning mentality, you can't just shrug it off as a coach, whatever he says in the press afterwards. When we draw 0-0 with Dartford on Saturday. Well,
yeah, this is it. I don't know if I look. Is it? I suppose it's the old cliche, and performance is not results. And there'll be a few positional battles I'll be looking at. Sort of right-sided defence. That's Burns. Where's he lining up over the course of the month, and as we edge towards the start of the season? But I probably primarily will look at the tougher games: the Palace, the Millwall. When the Millwall turned into a tougher game, Jesus. I
was going to say, with Millwall, isn't that a contradiction in terms? Millwall friendly.
There you go. But we look at those two games, and that's when I'll be wanting performances and possible result. Because that's when that's why you play these bigger teams, or bigger teams play slightly smaller teams, but are big in their respective leagues. Because they want the test and they want the run out and they want to see where they are in terms of their preparation. And you are supposed to be preparing yourself for the opening day, just like a show.
Yep.
So come Millwall or Palace, are we forgetting our lines? Or are we looking like a really fine oiled machine that's ready to hit the stage and proceed? What I didn't know,
that should be dress rehearsal time, shouldn't it? As you said, it should be.
Absolutely.
Should know your team. Then.
What I want to ask both of you is, when did Premier League teams start playing Premier League teams in pre-season? And where do you both sit with that as we close the show? Because I personally can't stand it. I would never want to play anybody in our league, because my old dad, he would always say it's mentality. If you get beat by them, that's 1-0 up there already. They've beaten you already. They can, we've beaten these guys already. It gives them a head start. You give them an insight into your preparation. When did it become a thing for Chelsea to play sort of Arsenal in pre-season?
What was it you just did to me for the Cactus League in America? It's money, isn't it? They can bill it as a Premier League game, but not in the Premier League. It's just and I guess it's, who else do they play? Particularly at the moment, I guess with COVID, it's not like they can just nip off.
But they're in tournaments, George, with like sort of Arsenal, Chelsea, PSV, and Ajax. It's like, can you? Is there not enough big teams for a pre-season to go by with enough money in the top leagues that it doesn't sit well with me.
I mean, it is a very similar thing. I can't very well laud the value of the Cactus League and things like that, and then criticize that, because it's basically the same thing. The top level teams playing the top level teams pre-season, but they could probably turn it into a.
I guess the difference there, George, sorry to cut across you, is that baseball is American, and some South American countries do play it, but you're not going to be able to go and play somebody with a relative same level of competitiveness from Holland, for example, are you? It's going to be like baseball versus rounders. Whereas in football, you could have a tournament of, say, Chelsea, Dortmund, Milan, Barca, just to pick out teams.
Yeah.
That are only going to face each other in the Champions League, which is obviously a knockout format.
And they will. They will, because they'll find a way of using that as a pseudo Super League, won't they? That will be something that happens this summer. It won't, because of COVID. But that they're going to be working on something in the back, which is, well, if we can't do it during the season, let's just turn it into a pre-season thing where we just play each other over a month or whatever it is, and the six of us just flit around and make a few quid.
Few chatters in the chat, Coxy, about the Hospital Cup. Would you like to see that return? Ipswich Norwich pre-season?
Nah. Definitely
Where are
not.
you on that debate we're just having them in George about Premier League teams playing each other?
Well, it is what it is. It's just another way of making a bit of money. I think the last few seasons they usually go, a couple of them go on a tour to the Far East to try and sort of appease the fans over there, the big clubs, Manchester United, Liverpool. Mm-hmm. But I think the main thing with these two pre-season friendlies is the one on Tuesday night. It's our pre-season get together. The contributors of the HDR. I'll be there. You'll be, George will be there, and I think Crunch is there, isn't he?
Yeah, so there's always a downside to life. Imagine the Super League. I know, I love him really. He's a top bloke. Love him. I hope you're having a nice time in Scotland, Crunch. We do love you. Imagine if the Super League went ahead, they'd be playing each other in friendlies too. Crunch says the Canaries will stay up. Don't go and depress me this early in the summer. Lee Anderson will. Yes, Drinnan went missing longer than Nessie. Is he still here, George?
There's always somebody has to mention him.
I know. Right, we're done. We are back on Sunday. Oh, it's European Cup final on Sunday. European Championships final on Sunday, and we're in them. God, that's a shocking.
Wow.